What's up, YouTube? It's time for a review of the new Code Orange record, Forever, out this past Friday, January 13th. First album review of 2017. I was so excited to check out this band's follow-up to their acclaimed 2014 record, I Am King, which is a record that, following its release, very much saw Code Orange get spotlighted as one of the next big things in metalcore or hardcore or whatever you want to label them. I think it's fitting that the follow-up is their first album for Roadrunner Records, because that means it's going to get that much bigger of a push and Code Orange are going to reach that many more ears. So jumping right in, the first song I heard was the opening title track, Forever, which really wastes no time with a cinematic intro or anything. There's a few spoken words, and then it launches right into this pummeling groove that's introduced alongside some keyboard flourishes. And what I immediately noticed was that the production is a lot more dry this time around. Sonically, it reminds me a lot of the last Nails record, as opposed to I Am King, which to me had a cleaner sound. And this sonic change is a positive one, because I think their sound has an added edge, and it makes this first track really explode. Although the real reason that Forever is such a great opening track is that it immediately introduces this element of total unpredictability, which keeps you on your toes right off the bat. A minute in, the guitars could just drop out without notice. Then some keys could come in out of the blue. Then the time signature could change. It's a very engaging listen because the structure and arrangements are unconventional and they're always in motion. And the grooves themselves are vigorous on this one. I'm especially into that final section where the high note in between the chugs just feels like repeated stabs of a Heimlich maneuver, just like it's being forced out of you. And I'm really into those up-picked harmonics too, which make this riff squeal as well as pound. So Forever's a great opener, but once you get a few tracks into this album, it becomes very clear very quickly that the album's biggest strength is its diversity. There are a lot of different styles just crammed in here, and it adds another layer to that element of unpredictability. Of course, the obvious example that everyone's going to point to is the single Bleeding in the Blur, which it doesn't take a genius to notice that this is a seismic shift in style and in mood, really. It's this clean vocal-driven splash of post-hardcore that's catchy and immediate, but still manages to maintain the moodiness that Code Orange are clearly going for here. On Bleeding in the Blur, the keyboards are almost entirely absent, but in the second verse, for instance, the band uses this combination of reverb-heavy clean guitars and eerie, harmonized vocals to set this dark mood in the middle of the track, which is bookended by what's really a catchy alt-rock, post-hardcore hybrid that I'm really into. And I'd also like to point out those punchy, emphatic, stop-start rhythms in the chorus, which really help drive the hook home. Continuing with this theme of impressive diversity, we eventually arrive at what is hands down my favorite track on the record, the song Ugly. The beginning of this song is, I know I already mentioned alt-rock, but the beginning of this song literally sounds straight off of like the first Garbage record or something. It's so early to mid-90s. It's probably the most eclectic moment on the album, and that's saying a lot. The chorus in this song is just phenomenal. It's yet another different vocal style. This time around, it's these gruff, hard rock vocals, and the lyrics are just anthemic. Live like a loser, die like a king. Ugly is the only way I know how to be. That is just brilliantly, concisely written. And at 2 minutes, in that bridge section, that clean guitar tone, it's just, this album is full of ridiculously good guitar tones, which I'm sure, especially a lot of those cleans, I'm sure they're just direct in to Pro Tools or something, but still, regardless of how you feel about these tunes, you can't really take away from how good the album sounds. So Ugly is another stylistic departure. Then there's the song Spy, which has a very clear nu metal influence that Code Orange really aren't afraid to flaunt. And it pays off in spades because this song is just a down-tuned bludgeoning with thick bass and droning riffs and keyboard and sampling flourishes. And there's once again a clear ADD between parts. If you skip to 145, you'll kind of notice what I mean. Just this constant, insatiable switching between ideas. Still, this element of organized chaos is really at play. It's funny because I took a break halfway through one of my listens to this record, and I saw I had a couple YouTube notifications, and I clicked on them, and it was just this retard just saying this idiotic trolling shit to me, and it was kind of annoyed me. And then when I came back to the album, the next track was Spy, and it was that much more of just an adrenaline rush because I was fucking annoyed. So that is another departure, kind of bringing in those nu metal elements. And then the closing song, Dream 2, which is, for lack of a better term, dreamy. I thought it was a cool, unconventional way to end an album like this, an album in this genre. So, Forever is a unique album. But unique doesn't always carry a positive connotation. For example, the keyboards that are tossed into a lot of these tracks. Yes, sometimes they add some atmosphere. Other times, they can feel like nothing more than pointless embellishments meant to add a cinematic element where it doesn't really fit or it's not really necessary. I think as far as a song like Kill the Creator goes, you can't just string together a bunch of breakdowns, then shove some campy keyboards on top and just say, look at how different our music is. Because is it that different? Or at that point, does it just get gimmicky? I feel like sometimes the keyboards are just added to create this facade of sophistication in the album's most run-of-the-mill moments. The song The New Reality is another example of that. Because sometimes it is just the most straightforward, heavy shit that is the most effective. Like Spy, or like a song like No One Is Untouchable, where it's just simple and balls to the wall. Which, on a positive note, I have to commend Code Orange for including these more, I guess, stripped down tracks with less bells and whistles, because they round the album out, because some of these songs are so over the top and a little campy. Another thing that gets a little difficult for me to stomach is the lyrics, because some of the time they are unbearably corny. And they're tough to take seriously, especially because the band seem to take themselves so goddamn seriously. The worst offender, by far, is the song Hurt Goes On. Let's sample a couple of these lyrics. The next time you use your big boy voice, I want to see you fade to black. I'm just a dog in a cage waiting to pick you to pieces. Or the opening track, Forever, where they just say, Code Orange is forever. Is anything forever? Last time I checked, nothing lasted forever. Unless you got the Sorcerer's Stone, which is good for your band. You guys will be crushing it for the next millennium or so, but I couldn't do it. I don't know. Hardcore as a genre definitely does get a bit more leniency when it comes to lyrics, because the genre is largely built on these direct, confrontational, in-your-face lyrics, which it's so easy to make those sound cheesy. Did I just spit flames? I think I just spit flames in the middle of a review without planning it. But I'm not going to hold it against them too much, but it does bother me, especially on a song like Hurt Goes On. But my biggest gripe is with the track The Mud, which I think is just a total momentum killer. And it doesn't help that it has the longest runtime of any track on the LP. It's so sluggish. This song has two separate sections, from 30 seconds to 50 seconds, and then from 1:30 to 2 minutes, where the entire premise is just alternating between two basic notes over and over again. It's so damn boring. Probably after my fifth listen, I just skip right over this track. I don't want to hear it, even to make more notes about how I don't like it. I just don't want to hear it again. I think it's really fucking boring. I think it really hurts the album. It's plopped right in the middle of a lot of great music. And being more of a metalhead, my last negative point here could just have a little more to do with my personal taste. But it is so hard to keep a barrage of breakdowns interesting. The way Code Orange do that a lot of the time is with the keyboards when they work, and with the eclectic stylistic infusions when those work. But a lot of these breakdowns do really put me to sleep. And most of them occur within songs I like. The last minute of Real, 30 seconds into The New Reality, the middle section of No One Is Untouchable, of course 3 minutes into The Mud. These breakdowns start to feel like they're poking holes in this album. When they misfire, there's sections that as a listener I have to get through, as opposed to adrenaline rushes that make me want to fuck shit up. So I am into this record, and I do buy into the hype, but looking down the track list, there's ultimately only 5 songs out of 11 that I really like and that I'm really going to keep coming back to. Forever, Real, Bleeding Into the Blur, Spy, and Ugly. And that leaves me sort of indifferent to the rest, and of course really negative on one. So in terms of rating this, I was really, really on the cusp with this one, because the music is so energetic and so full of life, and there is a unique fusion of styles going on, and the album very much stands out from its peers. So I really wanted to love it, but unfortunately I think I'm going to have to wait and see if maybe next round the band can deliver that killer album front to back that they very much have in them. Forever gets a strong 6 out of 10 from me. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or shoot me a message so we can continue to talk music, and I'll see you guys soon.